Well, first of all, we're guys. We've all been there. We've all watched porn. We've all masturbated, and I think it's kind of just the transition of going from that lifestyle of it being supported by the world and by worldly friends, growing up, and then now, kind of the struggles of going through cleansing ourselves. Pastor Jamin talked about clearing the room. And honestly, that's one of those things where you got to clear the room in your mind of pornography.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. How do you?
That's facts. I remember my.
I'm gonna bring up my Bible real quick.
Yeah, I have mine. I have a.
I know
Yeah.
what
It's
I
funny
wanna
because
go to,
I did a kind of a good study today, but
Yeah.
what is this? I think I was in fourth grade. What was this? I was 9, either 9 or 10, whatever
Yeah.
your age group is in fourth grade. But I remember this like vividly. Like it was what do they call it? Recess.
Yeah.
I remember hanging out with my friends, and you're like, yeah, bro, we were watching, and they said the website name. I'm like, oh, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's porn website. I'm like, what's porn?
Yeah.
Like I was so innocent, and then
What grade? Fourth
grade, bro,
Yeah.
when I was exposed to that.
That's hella early.
Yeah, super early, bro. And then
Fourth
I was super curious. I was thinking about it all day.
Mm-hmm.
And I got home, searched it up. I was like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm looking at. And when I clicked on the video, I was like, I just remember something's different. Like I could just feel something in me.
Yeah.
So at a very young age, I was exposed to it, and then it progressed. I continued to watch it, and then I learned about masturbation. I was like, okay, let me try this.
Yeah.
And then it's just been a constant pattern in my life for years, and I had no conviction of it. I thought it was like, it's like it was normal for me. I'm like, all right, there's no consequence for me doing this. I didn't have the knowledge like that I do now or anything like that. But I think the biggest turnaround was when I got married, bro. When I got married to Kyla, what really opened me up was my pastor, or Pastor Omar, and he gave us a little thing like, you have to be vulnerable, you have to be honest in your marriage. And I just remember I was so deep into my addiction to pornography and masturbation, where I'm exposing myself right now. I'm gonna just lay it out. Like,
Let's go.
this is after me and Kyla got married, a month after our wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got married in January. The wedding was in March. The month after that, bro, it got so bad where I was in OnlyFans, bro. Now, I wasn't in OnlyFans.
You're
but
subscribed.
I was subscribing. I was using money. I was using me and Kyla's money now to go buy news, buy pictures of and videos of girls, and it was so ridiculous. And like, speaking from the other side, like, I'm so free. I just remember bringing it up to my wife. I mean, I just felt a conviction in my heart to tell her. And I remember we were both doing laundry, both folding clothes. I was like, hey, babe, I got to tell you something. And I remember, bro, she was like, yeah, what's going on? And I was like, what I'm about to tell you is like, is heavy for me to tell you. And like, this is on a level where you're going to learn something about me that you might hate. And I just remember before I could even tell her, bro, I was sobbing. And I had to keep like catching my breath, and she's like, what's going on? What happened? It's like, I have a really big problem, right now. I was like, babe, like, I'm using our money on OnlyFans. And she knows what it is.
Yeah.
She's heard about it. And I just remember, like, I couldn't even look at her anymore after I said it. I was just so ashamed, so weak, bro. And then I just remember that moment on, like, she told me to look up, come in closer. She gave me a hug. and she prayed over me. Talking about me sobbing, bro. I didn't even know that there was another level to the cry, to just the crying that I was just letting it out. I'm just like, thank you, God, and I felt so free. And that's me and my wife. But I remember the first time me and you talked about it. We were playing basketball. And we're like, bro, you know what the biggest issue is right now for me? It's like, it's porn, bro. You mentioned it. You brought that up. And I was like, bro, no way. Me too. And it just letting in on someone who, or telling someone and having someone tell you that, it was freeing. It's like, dang, this guy's going through it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess I'm saying all this to say this, like, you got to tell somebody. You can't hold it to yourself.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kyla, bro.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing was, I was so scared because I'm like, she's going to see me differently. She's going to hate me. She's like probably not going to want to be married to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she embraced me with
Showered you
grace,
with grace, man.
I'm just like, thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
How are you doing now?
Oh, dude,
How long has it been
a long time.
from your last fast? Is that what it was?
For those of you who don't know, I did a 3-day water fast. Then there's 3 things I wanted to fast from: was my addiction to porn, instruction for my clothing brand, and guidance. And I did a 10-day Daniel fast. I'm telling you, like, a 3-day water fast is a monster because I love eating.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for food, but I really wanted to make it a point where, like, no, like, this gotta go. Like, this gotta go.
When did you do that? When did you do your fast? I mean, I thought it was like beginning of the year.
Beginning of the year, yeah. Because I remember telling you guys, like, I was still struggling, bro. I would watch videos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hated it, bro.
Yeah.
And I was always tempted to do it. But speaking on temptation, this is in James 1. This is one of the verses I wanted to bring up. It says, when tempted, no one should say, this is James 1:13. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone, but each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Do not be deceived. And the temptation has so much to offer. It will offer you, with lust, pleasure, with anger. It will give you temptation always wants to give you a release and something in return into going in with that temptation, but it's just deceptive. It's all the temptation's job is to deceive you.
Yeah. How did you first even like think about subscribing to an OnlyFans? Like, did a friend doing it, or like,
it was a curiosity, huh?
It was a curiosity.
yeah,
Yeah, all right.
just like what
What
can I get out of this?
It's like just as I was curious as when I was in 4th grade,
Yeah.
was that same curiosity.
Yeah,
Just at a different level.
right.
And that's how dangerous it can be, bro.
Because I'm sure you can be hooked on real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. For me, it was pretty much that time, and I mean, my beginning, I was 12 years old, and I remember the first ever video I watched, bro, and like I was just starstruck. I was like,
Yeah.
when I got on the website, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. And yeah, dude, I was 12 years old, and it went all the way up until last November.
Yeah.
And which is like, I'm very proud of it. I'm very happy about it. Like, I feel like that chain was broken.
Chain breaker.
Yeah, chain breaker, way maker. And that's like, man, that is my thing. If you're struggling with that, like, pray and fast about it. But when you fast, pick a fast, whatever you want to do. Like, it has to involve eating, though. Like, because I remember Pastor Jay was talking about, like, fasting means to, like, actually close your mouth. Like that's what that is. And so like there has to be a withhold of consuming food. And for me it was the Daniel fast, just fruits and vegetables and water for 10 days. And I mean, if you're already vegan, then that doesn't count. But I just know that every single day of that fast, I was like, God, please, like, I please break this chain.
Yeah.
And you have to be intentional about your fast. You can't like, I mean, if you want to address this stronghold in your life, because that's what it is. If you feel guilty after every time you do it, and then like there are times where you'll feel guilty after, and then you'll do it again because you feel like you do it again within the same hour.
Yeah.
Or at least I had, and was like, well, I already did it once.
Yeah.
So
Do it again.
I might as well do it again. You have to be intentional. You have to be like, when you're fasting, instead of eating, feed yourself with the word and connect with God.
Right.
Talk to God. Be like, Lord, like, I'm doing this fast because I want you to break this chain. I'm doing this fast because there's a stronghold in my life that I no longer want. And that's what I was intentional about, dude. That's what I did in last October.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, bro, I'm very, like, I just never thought I'd be where I am. I never thought I would be so free from like an addiction that started at 12 years old and introduced me to sexuality. You know what I mean? And now it's like, I mean, I'm gonna bring up Romans 12. 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And I was conformed to the patterns of this world. You know, I was like, all of my friends around me were saying it was cool. Like, that people would joke about it. And like, even to a point where I was so casual about it, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go home and jack off. That's what I'm about to do. To be funny, but also like serious.
Yeah,
like
no,
I was
for
like,
sure.
I'm actually going to do that. But yeah, man, that is my advice. Like, especially that, like, it was so near and dear to me. You know what I mean? It was like, I have tried everything, dude. I've tried like willpower. I've tried like just like, you know, just praying. You know what I mean? But it wasn't until I prayed and fasted about it. And you know what's crazy? Ruslan actually has a series or like this thing that you can like follow, and it like, I don't know, it's supposed to help you like stop. But even one thing that I noticed with that little thing, because I didn't do the whole thing, obviously I stopped. That and then other videos that talk about it, they all say the same thing: prayer and fasting. They all say the same thing, and I never took it serious. I never really understood the power of fasting. And it's like, if you really need an answer, if you really need a chain broken, like, fast. You know what I mean? Like, prayer and fasting, like, go read Matthew.
And the crazy thing is, God will answer if it's intentional too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Some of my fasts before weren't really intentional, so I didn't really get an answer, and then I blame God that, like, hey, why didn't you answer my prayer?
Because when you fast, you'll always get the result.
Facts.
You won't
Whether
always
it's
get the
during
answer.
your fast or if it's after your fast, like, you'll get it. So, just fortunately, I've had the answer during my fast. I'm sure you guys too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wanted to add too, like, if you're watching this and you're single, and you have the misconception that once you're engaged or married, that you're just gonna all of a sudden stop watching porn and stop masturbating.
That is a lie.
Nah, bro.
Man.
Because like when I got married, I was still jacking off. I was still watching porn, and my wife knew. And it's like, you literally have to remove that from your mind, and it takes a lot. Don't think that I'm gonna get married, and once I find the right one, the right woman, right guy, I'm gonna stop. Nah, like, it's hard.
And then one thing that you have to realize, you as a man, your sexuality is your responsibility. So for those who are married, you cannot blame your wife for not giving it up. So then you have to go and, though that is an issue, but that does not give you the right to go and lust after another woman and pleasure yourself. Because your sexuality is your responsibility. And because even when you think about it, like when you have a child, postpartum, or even like getting close to the due date, like, your wife's not gonna want to have sex with you, bro. Like, and that's at least, I don't know. It could last. It could be from 1 to 3 months that like your wife's body is literally like healing itself. And that you have to learn how to be diligent in those times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if the lack of sex is an issue, talk about it. Like communicate that. Like, hey, babe, like you mention me all the time, and me and Kyla, we talk about this all the time. Like, make a schedule for it. Like, okay, how many times in a week would you like to have sex?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
that's real.
bring it up to your wife if you're married.
Yeah.
Bring it to your wife. Like, hey, babe, like, this is an issue to me. I am a man. I do have a need.
Yeah.
And it's not the number one need I have, but it is a need.
Yeah.
Facts.
But you also have to say, like, honestly, for me, this X amount of days of having sex, that's all I ask for. And if she gives you an X amount of days and we can find somewhere in the middle, bro,
Yeah.
it's key.
And I think, as a married man, like your sex life will be drastically changed once you stop watching porn, because you start to stop having the expectation of that video you watched last night,
Fantasies.
and it's just not realistic. And I think
it's fake.
putting that that idea of certain things that you've watched and expecting it out of your wife, it's not gonna meet your expectation ever.
Bro, not even like, I mean, not saying like more like to add on to that. For me, it was just like, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you watch porn and you're like you're married, I guarantee, if you watch porn and masturbate and you're married, I guarantee you there are times with you and your wife where you can't get it up. I just guarantee you there is. And I know that happens. And like, it's because you've trained your mind to get horny towards a screen.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is another huge reason why you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? It's like, and trust me, the hard part is that even me knowing all of these things, it wasn't until I prayed and fasted about it.
Yeah.
That it was actually like, dang, like it had happened for me. You know,
Yeah.
the chain was broken, and I feel like don't get it twisted. There are definitely days where I'm like, I feel like watching porn right now because like, you know what I mean? Like, just how much I've consumed. Like, there are easy memories that I pull up and I'm like, oh, I like this video, that video, whatever. But now that I am on the other, like, I feel like I could say I'm on the other side. I'm just like, it doesn't have the power it used to have over me. Like, it doesn't, like, sometimes I would see a girl in the gym and then go home and be like, keep that thought of the girl in the gym and be like, I'm going to go home and watch porn.
Yeah.
Because of what I just saw at the gym.
Yeah.
And like, if that has that kind of power over you, it's going to run your life, bro.
Yeah.
And it has the potential to ruin your marriage. And
I'm glad you brought that up, because when I got married, when, I would be having sex, sometimes, like, when you're just not in the mood, well, at least for me, I'm going to speak for myself. Like, I would start to think about videos that I've seen in the past just to get me aroused.
Yeah. That's real.
But as of today, I stopped watching porn and jacking off January 1st, 2023. So it's been like a year and a month. Not once when I have sex now do I even think about
So fire.
another woman or another video. It's crazy. Like, I never thought I'd be at this point.
Yeah.
exactly.
But I am just aroused by the simple fact that I am married to one woman, and there is revival for you on the other side of your struggles. It may seem like it's far away, but like, it's like, for me, it's taken over a year for me to get to a point where I just love my wife. I love having sex with her in a way that she's the only one I think about.
Yes.
And it's refreshing knowing that, like, dang, I didn't feel disgusted that I thought about someone else while I was doing it with her. That's powerful.
I commend your discipline, bro.
Yeah.
Because that takes a disciplined life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you're disciplined, like, you think of LeBron James. He disciplined himself in his training so that he could be free to do what he does in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you discipline yourself with not not having the power of temptation over you,
Yeah.
so you can be free to express yourself and your sexuality in your marriage with your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things you said that I love, bro, is that there's, I don't know the word. You didn't use this word, but the word I want to use is resurrection, like
Revival.
Revival.
Yeah.
So when it's the same. It's the same thing. You die to your flesh. You die to your flesh so you can honor God. But when you do die to your flesh, there is resurrection, and oh my, that's so true, bro. The whole thing with like, because there used to be times where it's like. I would get horny because I'm watching a video and then have sex with my wife.
Yeah.
But it's like now it's like, bro, I crave my wife, bro. It's like
Facts.
I think of me having sex with my wife and it gets me off and I'm like,
Bro,
this is
so
this
real.
is what it should have been this entire time, bro.
From the start.
And I've been married for almost 2 years now, and it's like I had been married for over a year before I told my wife about my porn addiction, and like I shared that before, but that just goes to show it doesn't marriage is not gonna do it. You know what I mean? Marriage is not gonna. Oh yeah, like now I'll be good. Like now I can like abstain from watching porn. It's like nah.
What
bro.
you were doing when you were single is what you're still going to do when
Exactly.
you're married.
Everything.
Those
exactly,
patterns
bro.
are going to continue.
If you're an unhappy individual, you're gonna be an unhappy spouse.
Come on.
If you're a greedy individual, you're gonna be a
Greedy
greedy spouse.
spouse.
Nobody's gonna walk into your life unless it's Jesus and change every single thing about you.
Yeah.
Like that's just not gonna happen. That's not how the world. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to put the topic of marriage, like marriage is so brutal on selfishness. It has no mercy towards
Oh, yeah.
selfishness.
Amen.
It will have to. It will expose you.
For facts.
You will have. You're gonna have to give up things that you never thought you were gonna have to give up. You're gonna have to give up. Definitely, you're gonna learn patience, bro. You're gonna
Yeah.
learn. You're gonna have to give up not reacting a certain way or responding a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to give up time to learn your wife.
Mhm.
Your wife is a book, and you got to study her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your wife is the number one most important person above all things. Above all things.
Mm-hmm.
Because second to God is your family. But when you marry your wife, your wife and God create a covenant, which is your new family. So even if you and your wife have no kids, that's your family. She's number one to your mom. She's number one to your friends. Like your wife comes before absolutely everybody. And that's a clear cut line. And that's,
Yeah.
bro, I saw this video of like, this dude's wife was sitting in the front and he had his mom sitting in the back of the car. And there was like a huge argument about it. Like, oh, like should the mom have, because the mom wanted to sit up front, but the wife was like, nah, like what the hell, sit
Yeah.
back. And I'm like, why is this even an argument?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's like, if that's your wife, bro, like, let me
That's
say
a
this.
non-negotiable for me. at
Exactly,
least.
bro. Like when you have kids, you may think that your kids are your world, but you are not your world's kids, or you are not your kids' world.
Facts.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the way you look at them, they don't look at you like that.
Yeah.
Because one day they're gonna grow up and get out of your house, and then what? And then it's you and the person that you raised those kids with. All that to say this, you and that person, that's the number one relationship.
Right.
So your mom's number one relationship should be with your dad, not with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like that's all I'm trying to say is like when you get married,
Mm-hmm.
your
When
wife
you think
is-
of it too, like when you have kids or multiple kids, and your last one moves out of the house, who's left?
right.
Your
Exactly.
spouse.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's
It
why
all
I
goes
can't wait.
back.
I can't wait to have kids, bro. Like
I'm so excited.
I'm just
Yeah.
like I just know I'm gonna like I want to set that example. I want them to look at me and be like, dang, dad really loves mom. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and there are I don't watch too much videos, but like there are videos that I've watched that are like, your kids need to know that your wife is more important than them.
Yeah.
Like for facts, like I forgot who it was, but it was like when I get home from work, I tell of course I say hi to my kids, but I tell them like, you guys gotta wait a few minutes. I'm gonna have adult time with your mom, and like just go and give her a hug and like talk to her or whatever, this and that. Like, and they see that, they know that like, oh, they got their thing. I'm just their kid. But obviously you love them,
Yeah.
they're your kid. But like, there's just so many people. I just especially, I mean not especially, but I just in my family, like
Yeah.
people like just like worship their kids. And it's just like, man, Good thing this is
I mean-
whatchamacallit content because
On that
Yeah.
topic, bro, when like your parents worship their kids, like I can speak so much on that because I'm known in my family as the perfect child.
damn.
Because my parents talk so highly about me, and I felt like I had to act a certain way so I wouldn't disappoint them. And like I couldn't be myself.
Yeah.
Like in a way it's trauma, but in a way it's like it has built me up to the person I am today. I work hard, you know, in everything I do. I mean, I'm a big thinker because of how my parents would talk about me.
It's good.
But man,
Yeah.
it puts a lot on you.
I think to like bring it back to the topic, I think, you know, with the root of like pornography and masturbation, I think it really, the way you look at your spouse and your wife is really going to dictate how the rest of your lineage and your family goes, you know, like thinking about your kids and how you treat your parents and things like that. Like, you know, if you struggle with pornography and masturbation, like that's just a pattern that you've got to give it up and surrender to God and just be like, God, take this away from me. Because like how, I don't know, we don't have kids, but how could we have a child and think of another woman that is almost in competition with our wife, you know, whether it's like another porn star or like someone that we've seen before, like there should be no competition in anybody where like when we think of love and intimacy and like physical touch or like all that stuff, there should be no other person besides you know our significant other. And I think kind of breaking through that addiction is tough. It's very tough, you know. And I just want to encourage, if you're watching this, find a friend who you can be open and transparent about or to, that you can just be like, hey bro, or hey sis, I've never told anybody this, but I just felt like I want to tell you this. I'm addicted to porn and I'm addicted to masturbation. And beyond that, if you don't have anybody, like, you know, we want to be the vessels. So we're very open to, you know, if you guys ever just want to DM us personally or reach out, we've gone through it and we are going through it still. You know, it's not like we've completely, it's not completely left our you know, life.
The temptation never fully, I mean, I can't say never, but the temptation doesn't fully go away.
Yeah.
But what I definitely know is that the strength of the temptation is much, much weaker.
Yeah.
It's like I have the thought and I'm like, I just dismiss it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, whatever.
And I mean, like, even like for me, that's given up porn and masturbation. Like the devil's been like, all right, you've gone away from that. Lust in other places of my life is like up right now. You know what I mean? And that's a whole different topic that we can go into a different video. But
and it's gonna take work. It's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna take a lot of discipline. But
yeah, I'm glad we covered that. Nice little segment. I think we probably went like
30 minutes. But yeah, thanks for sticking it out with us. If you ever want us to cover anything, you know, deep or things like that, we're more than willing to. So thank you guys for watching.